Welcome back to Pretty Creative Stuff. Today we're making biscuits with a boss from the show Ted Lasso. This is the official recipe shared by Apple TV. Apple TV shared this recipe with Today Food, and that's what I'm going to make today. Now, if you're a fan of the show Ted Lasso, I know this video is a couple years late, but I've been wanting to make the biscuits that Ted Lasso makes for his boss ever since I first saw them. If you're from the United States like me, biscuits in England are what we would call cookies. These are actually shortbread cookies. This is a container of shortbread cookies that I got at the Warner Bros studio tour in Hollywood. If you want to know more about that tour, I'll put a link in the description box. It's on my other channel, Theme Park Spark. I got this tin. This is biscuits with the boss. And I also got these biscuits with the boss, which are shortbread cookies that I have yet to try. I've been waiting to try them until I make the official recipe for the Ted Lasso biscuits. Stay tuned until the end because I'm going to do a taste test where I taste the official recipe biscuits, the biscuits I got from Warner Brothers that say they're the Ted Lasso biscuits, and then I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to compare them to my favorite shortbread cookies, which are Lorna Doone. Which do I like the best? Do they all taste the same? Stay tuned to find out. First, let's get baking. The official recipe for Ted Lasso biscuits only includes 4 ingredients. We need a 1/4 teaspoon salt, 2 sticks of butter, unsalted butter. I've had these on the counter for a couple hours because they're supposed to be at room temperature. We also need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and we need 3/4 cup of confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar. All right, so I have a bowl here and I'm gonna mix together the flour and the salt. That's the first step. We need 2 cups of flour, 1 and 2. We need 1/4 teaspoon coarse salt. This is sea salt. Then we need to sift it together. My favorite way to sift flour is to whisk it. So I'm gonna whisk this together. There isn't any baking powder or baking soda or anything like that in this, which is interesting. I guess they're not gonna rise. Okay, they'll be really dense biscuits. Now we're gonna set this bowl to the side and move on to the next step. For the next step, you're gonna need a mixer. I have my KitchenAid mixer here. I'm gonna open this up, put the paddle on. I already have it plugged in. Now we need to add our butter. 1 stick, 2 sticks. Again, this is unsalted butter. I almost always use salted butter, even when recipes call for unsalted butter, but this time, since I'm trying to make the official recipe, I decided I would follow the instructions as directed. Okay, so now we're supposed to stir this together for 3 to 5 minutes. The recipe said to mix the butter until fluffy, which is about 3 to 5 minutes. I think this looks pretty fluffy. That looks like fluffy butter to me. So we're gonna go with that. The next step is to slowly add the powdered sugar. So I am going to get out my powdered sugar, and since it's 3/4 cup, I'm gonna add 1/4 cup at a time. So there's 1/4 cup. Right now I'll add another 1/4 cup. Right, and I'm gonna add the last 1/4 cup. I don't know how these could be bad because seriously, it's butter and sugar at this point. Okay, I'm gonna lift this up and kind of scrape it off, make sure it all gets combined really well. Scrape down the bowl. So far, we just have butter and sugar in here. Super healthy, right? Butter and sugar. Okay, let's mix that a little bit more. Okay, now we're gonna add the flour mixture, which is just flour and salt. Scrape this down one more time. Add it all at once. We're not adding it gradually this time. It says to add the flour all at once. So we're doing that. And mix this until combined. Okay. It seems kind of clumpy. I wasn't expecting the texture to be like this. The next step in the recipe is to butter the pan that you're gonna put it in. I didn't butter the pan, I actually did something different. This is a square 9x9 brownie pan, and I lined it with parchment paper because I think that's easier to get out than dealing with putting butter all over the pan. So I'm gonna put it in here. Pat and roll shortbread into pan, no more than 1/2 inch thick. So we're gonna try that. So all I have to do is get this out. I don't want to taste the dough, I bet it's amazing. See, this is kind of crumbly. I wasn't expecting it to be this crumbly, but I guess we'll pat it together to kind of make the dough. I really like to bake. I really like to make cookies and cakes and all sorts of things, especially easy recipes. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you like easy recipes and copycat recipes. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna put all the crumbles in here and then pat it together with my hands. And I'm gonna take my rings off so they don't get flour and butter all over them. Okay, so let's pat this down. It does kind of stick together pretty well. Almost feels like using Play-Doh or something like that. Okay. I hope this pan isn't too big. And it did say no more than 1/2 inch. I think I need some more of the mixture over here. It's sticking to my hands. Maybe I should have sprayed my hands first. Ah, okay, gotta scrape that off. I do hope this turns out well. I would really love to be able to make these super easily. And I'm really curious to know what's gonna taste better, the homemade version or the store-bought version. You know what, I'm gonna press it down with this because actually this reminds me of making Rice Krispie treats where if I don't spray my hands, it sticks to my hands really bad. I need to watch Ted Lasso make them. My hands are a mess, but I think maybe I should lick them, see what it tastes like. Sweet. It tastes like eating solid sugar just about. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of hope it tastes better cooked. All right, so here are my biscuits ready to go in the refrigerator. They're supposed to be refrigerated for at least a 1/2 hour before moving on to the next step. So I just set a timer on my phone for a 1/2 hour and I'll come back and check them. It's been about 45 minutes since I put the biscuit batter in the refrigerator, and now the next step is to cut it into squares. So I'm not sure exactly what size it needs to be. I'm gonna look at the ones that I got at Warner Bros for reference and try to make them maybe about the same size. And my batter doesn't look nearly as pretty as the Warner Bros batter, but maybe it'll look better after baking. We'll see. As long as it tastes good, that's what matters, right? Let's see. It's about 4. So maybe I could do, okay, this I think is a 9-inch pan. And I think if is that gonna be too narrow? Maybe we'll use that for the length. So that would probably be a good length. And then, so I'm not gonna make them quite squares. I'm gonna try to make it more of the Ted Lasso biscuit shape. Now that I've cut the biscuits into pieces, the next step is to put them into my oven, which is preheated at 300 degrees. And they're gonna bake for about 45 to 60 minutes or until done. Let's pop them in the oven and see how they look when they're done. It's been about 50 minutes and I just took the biscuits out of the oven. They look done to me. So it looks like where I cut them, it's kind of cooked together, but once they cool, I will cut them again and so they will be the right size. All right, I'm supposed to let them cool completely. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wait that long, but I'll let them cool a little bit and then we'll be back for the official taste test. The Ted Lasso biscuits have cooled and it is time for me to finally try Biscuits with the Boss. Let's take them out of the pan. One thing that I really love about using parchment paper is that I can just easily lift it out. So before I taste them, first I need to recut them into pieces. I can see where the lines are from cutting them before. So let me cut them into pieces again. They look prettier than they did when I put them in the pan. I think they did kind of cook together nicely. I'm interested to do a side-by-side comparison. The Biscuits with the Boss are cut and it is time to compare them to the Warner Bros Ted Lasso biscuits. All right, I'm gonna bring my husband in with me. We always used to watch Ted Lasso together, so I think it's gonna be equally fun for both of us to do this taste test. Which ones do you think will be better? Do you think the ones that I just made are gonna be better? These? Do you think the ones we bought at Warner Brothers are gonna be better? Or do you think we're just gonna prefer Lorna Doone cookies?
I hope that it's the freshly made, homemade. Yeah. Because these have been sitting on a shelf for who knows how long.
Who knows?
These we know are good.
Yes.
Did you tell them about like?
No, when I was pregnant, this was my I kept them in my nightstand drawer, and I would always have those. So if I woke up hungry, I would eat Lorna Doone cookies. This is so good.
They are really good.
Okay.
So I'm hoping for those.
Okay, so which one do you want to taste first? These are the freshly made ones. And then we have the Ted Lasso Biscuits from Warner Brothers. It says on here, inspired by the biscuits made by Ted Lasso for his boss, Rebecca Welton, this treat will make you believe the best things in life often come in surprising packages. These delightful little gems are made locally by hand in small batches using only wholesale ingredients. So, yeah, and it's Warner Brothers studio tour. These are bigger than the ones I cut. But, well, actually about the same size, maybe. Just cut slightly differently. These feel harder, but they've also been, sitting out longer.
Did you know how big those were going to be? Or
I tried to cut these kind of, I looked at the package and tried to cut them so they'd be similar. Okay, so we have these. And then we need to open up some Lorna Doones, which Lorna Doones are not made locally in small batches.
And they're not homemade.
And they're not homemade. So, but I know I like them. All right, so we have Lorna Doone, the ones we got from Warner Brothers, and the ones I just made. Which ones should we try first?
Let's try the Ted Lasso ones.
The ones we got from Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. They're good.
They taste buttery.
I like the powdered sugar on the outside. Or the,
yeah, they have sugar on the outside. If you can see that, there's sugar on the outside. They're very sweet and buttery tasting.
Well,
a little crumbly.
I'm still stuck on the sugar. It's almost like half powdered sugar, or like if you had regular table sugar, and then you processed it a little, so it's half as grainy.
Well, what's interesting, so this recipe only called for 4 ingredients, the official Apple TV recipe: flour, butter, salt, and sugar. Those are the only ingredients. On here, on the ones from Warner Brothers, I'm looking at the ingredients, and it has flour, butter, sugar, salt, but it also has baking powder and vanilla. So it has 2 ingredients that the Apple TV recipe did not have.
Huh. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm gonna leave the rest of that one, and I'm gonna try one of the ones I made.
Yes.
And see how that tastes. This is missing 2 ingredients compared to the other ones. So, does that make it better or worse? No.
Well, let's try.
Cheers. I think some vanilla would make them taste a little better.
I do like them.
They're good, but now that I know the other ones have vanilla,
yeah,
I don't think it needs the baking powder necessarily, but a little bit of vanilla just is amazing.
I think it would be good.
They're similar though. This isn't as crunchy necessarily, but it's also fresher.
Right.
I could put frosting on them. Okay, now I'm gonna taste this one again.
Yeah.
This one tastes sweeter, but it has powdered sugar on the outside.
Right.
So.
And that sugar is what's hitting your tongue first.
Right. If I rolled this in some powdered sugar and added maybe just a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract to the batch, it might be about the same. I mean, I'm gonna eat both. Yeah, those taste sweeter. I'm gonna get some powdered sugar and we can put it on the outside. Now we need to try the Lorna Doones too.
Well, let's go with the Lorna Doones now, and then put powdered sugar in and see.
Okay, I'll save my last bite.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Lorna Doone. I don't think this is gonna be as good. This one tastes butterier.
Yeah.
More buttery.
Definitely.
Flour, sugar, canola oil, palm oil, corn flour, salt, high fructose corn syrup, baking soda, soy lecithin, cornstarch, and artificial flavor. These are fake. I'm gonna go with Lorna Doone tastes good, but I don't know. I think these taste better. Maybe these are the best.
I would agree. Yeah.
I think the ones from Warner Brothers are actually the best, but I think I could probably do it similarly just by adding a little bit of vanilla extract and putting some powdered sugar on that side.
They do fall apart.
They're crumbly, but I would say that's true of all of them. Okay, so we're gonna coat this one in powdered sugar. If you don't have a shaker like this, I'd recommend getting one. I think this might be Pampered Chef, I'm not sure. Okay, and then break it in half and see if this tastes more similar.
That's what I was gonna do.
I think it needs the vanilla extract.
I'm sure there's a difference, but I don't necessarily taste the difference.
Okay, so in conclusion, if you happen to go to Warner Brothers, grab the biscuits with the boss, the Ted Lasso biscuits. It's sold separately. This container is sold separately, but I mean, I needed both. So I would pick these up if you go to Warner Brothers. These are the best. But if you're not at Warner Brothers or you just don't feel like paying $12 for 8 cookies, this recipe probably is the official recipe because I don't know what they actually tasted like on set. Right. But maybe add some powdered sugar and put a little teeny tiny bit of vanilla extract. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified about upcoming videos, about recipes, parties, creative things to do, and other fun stuff we feel like filming.
Yep. And watch the Warner Brothers studio tour video when it comes out.
It'll be on my other channel, Theme Park Spark. I'll put a link to that video in the description box. The tour is really cool. You'll want to see it. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.